So this is the Xperia 1 Mark IV, Sony's newest top-of-the-line phone, and in many ways it's a remarkable device. But the reason for its existence has got to be the camera. Sony says that with this phone, it's bringing the most advanced video and photo capabilities to a smartphone. That's a quote. Okay, Sony cameras for years have had a reputation of excellency, and the company has been trying to bring more features from its cameras to its phones, hoping to replicate the success. This latest Xperia has 3 cameras, all with 12 megapixel Exmor RS sensor. The first one is a 24mm wide lens, then you have a 16mm ultra wide one, and finally a very special telephoto zoom lens. Sony is the only company that makes this kind of a zoom lens. It's a periscope camera, but the element inside the periscope actually moves, so you don't have just one focusing distance, but 2. And this phone has even longer zoom range than the previous generation. We are not here to get too technical though, so let's see if this camera can actually deliver in real life. And for this ride we took the popular iPhone 13 Pro and the Galaxy S22 Ultra along to see if the Xperia is in the same league. So first things first, this is the camera interface on the Sony. It's completely different from most other phones. It looks like a pro camera interface and takes some getting used to. You have this dial in the corner and most people will stick with the basic mode, which is kind of the default, but you also have manual modes to take full control of individual settings. Now our only complaint here is the low resolution viewfinder. You have tons of options, but the viewfinder looks grainy compared to other flagships. Alright, so now let's jump into the videos and the images. Alright, so right now recording with the Xperia 1 Mark IV with the front camera, testing out the video quality using HDR and the Video Pro app. So this is what it looks like. It has a bunch of options. I'm just using most of the default settings, just switching the front camera to HDR. I have to be honest, the first time I took a selfie with the Xperia 1 Mark IV, I just laughed at the result. The default settings of the phone produce a super weird picture that enlarged my eyes, smoothened my skin. I just looked ridiculous. I guess it's those beauty algorithms at their extreme. Once you disable those tune-ups though, selfies on the Xperia look just fine. The phone sticks to natural colors, which is just another way of saying that the tonalities are bleaker than the other two phones, but detail is sufficient and the image is pleasing. But you see the real difference when you see photos from the main cameras. So the Xperia photos have a totally different look than the other two, and you can tell. The goal of the Xperia seems to be just to capture a realistic photo. Period. The Galaxy and the iPhone, on the other hand, seem to have a different goal in mind. Capture the most pleasing photo, not the most photorealistic one. Now what this means in real life is that's not always great for the Xperia. It is sometimes lacking in color and detail. Greenery and grass in particular is often just a boring monotone color, while you see a ton of nuance and shades on the Galaxy and the iPhone for a more pleasing picture. The Galaxy and iPhone also lift up the shadows for a more HDR-y kind of look, while the Xperia does not do this, and you often get much gloomier photos right out of the gate. In terms of detail, however, we actually prefer this softer look of the photos from the Xperia, while the iPhone in particular often has extreme sharpening. That just doesn't look good once you look at the pictures on a bigger screen. So next up we have the main camera on the Xperia 1 Mark IV and comparing it against the iPhone and the Galaxy. Right now recording in HDR. Follow me, let's first check out the video stabilization. What kind of quality to get with these phones. Let's walk a bit faster. Stopping right about here. So which one do you think has the best stabilization? Alright, next up let's slowly move the cameras up and down and around to check out how they adjust to the different lighting conditions. We want to see a gradual shift in exposure. Alright, right now we're recording using the Video Pro app on the Xperia 1 Mark IV. So let's switch to the ultra-wide cameras on all of these phones. Alright, so right now we have the ultra-wide camera. You have to stop the video recording in the Video Pro app on the Xperia to switch to the ultra-wide camera, which is definitely not a great idea, but it is how it is. This is what the quality looks like, what we care about. So let's slowly move the cameras, staying in the same place, just moving the camera. Alright, and if I go right here in the sun, this is the quality we get with the ultra-wide cameras. Next up, switching to the ultra-wide camera, is a similar picture. One thing to note is that the Sony ultra-wide camera is not quite all that ultra. It has a narrower view. We actually don't mind this, as you get less distortion and a perspective that doesn't look quite as alien as those other two might. However, it is the zoom lens that really steals the show with the Xperia, and that's what we're here for, right? So, you can pick between 3.5x and 5.2x zoom levels, both native, or you can use digital zoom all the way up to 15.6x. Alright, so right now we have zoomed 3 times or 3.5 times on the Xperia. The other two phones, the iPhone and the Galaxy, have a 3 times zoom level, and this is the kind of quality you get. Look at the detail, look at the stabilization, look at the colors, and let me know which one you think looks best in your opinion. Okay, right now we have 10 times zoom, or 9 times with the iPhone. It's close. This is the kind of quality you get. Of course, the Galaxy has a dedicated 10 times zoom camera, so we should get this round, but you let me know how close it is and what is the gap. Alright, 10 times zoom video recorder. And the quality is actually pretty good, especially at those native zoom ranges. Then you also really start to notice the zippy autofocusing on the Sony, and you have some very nice natural bokeh for a creamy, naturally blurred background that you don't usually see on a phone. And speaking of this, you also have a portrait mode on all 3 phones. It's a bit hidden in the menu on the Sony, it takes a couple of extra taps, but it works all across the zoom range, while on the others it only works at a few preset ranges. Of course, the big difference in portrait shots is, once again, the colors. The Sony with its natural, bleaker colors, and the iPhone and Galaxy with way more saturated and vibrant tonalities. Also, take a look at this photo. The iPhone just couldn't capture a picture of these dandelions for the life of it. The Galaxy did better, but also blurred parts of the stem, and the bokeh looked kind of weird, while the Xperia just passed this test with flying colors. It's easily the best in the bunch. Keep in mind though that you have to work to get some color in the Sony photos after you take them. And at night the Xperia did a pretty good job as well. You can see how in certain photos the iPhone took a way too bright picture with extreme sharpening that actually looks quite bad on a bigger screen, while the Galaxy and Xperia keep things more reasonable. At the same time, look at this portrait mode photo at night. The Galaxy really crushed it here. It looks so much cleaner and sharper, not even a fair comparison. And when it comes to night selfies, also the Galaxy was ahead with a much cleaner picture, while the other two look blurred. So at the end of the day, it's just remarkable how, while other companies like LG have given up, Sony keeps on grinding and working on its own thing in the smartphone market. The Xperia is one for people who love the brand. It's different than the rest of the phones. Even the tall and narrow shape of the phone is unlike most others. And the camera can take great pictures, but makes you work a little bit harder for them. Sony photos lack the overprocessed look of other phones. They look consistent though, but also for the casual shooter, it might be a bit too much work to get even everyday photos right. You have to edit many of them, in my opinion. Now, at the same time, I think that the iPhones and the Galaxies can also take a few lessons from Sony. You don't always need to have a super sharp, over-processed photo from a phone, but actually getting a more realistic picture might be the way to go. Now, I still think that most people would be better off with an iPhone or a Galaxy, especially those who just want to tap on a button, have the phone take a great picture, forget about it. But if you want something different and you will use features like the 4K slow motion, 120 frames per second here on the Sony, then the Xperia will certainly not disappoint. This will do it for this video. Let me know which phone you think won this camera comparison and why in the comments right below. So thanks for watching, my name is Vic, this is PhoneArena. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed watching this video, thumbs up the video as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one.